Catherine knew. She always knew. Meghan Markle was not to be trusted. Whether any of it can reach William is another question entirely. And the person best placed to answer that question is not a palisade or a diplomatic back channel. It is Kate.
Harry had wanted to destroy this because he wants Meghan to be in there. And if he gets rid of the others, he'll be delighted because Meghan wants to be queen.
British public will not stand for it. Absolutely not stand for it.
Breaking right now, there's a reason Meghan Markle has just signed a big bucks entertainment role because her husband, Prince Harry, is facing financial ruin.
Harry is not invited to that particular event, right? Everybody is searching around, where is Harry? We know he's at an event.
Something has changed. Meghan Markle is coming back to Britain, but according to the story now unfolding around the Sussexes, Catherine is not prepared to simply open the doors and welcome Meghan back into the private world she has spent years protecting.
Meghan came into the royal family looking for issues, and Catherine was one of the first to spot that. So despite the Prince of Wales being intensely saddened at his younger brother's decision to leave the royal family, the Princess, Catherine, was less interested in attempting to persuade Harry and Meghan to stay.
And there is one boundary above everything else: her children, George, Charlotte, and Louis. Because whatever happens between the adults, Catherine has one responsibility she has never appeared willing to compromise on: protecting her children from the chaos surrounding the Sussexes.
And this is where I think Catherine was totally spot on. She knew that this was not just difficult behavior for the sake of being difficult. This was difficult behavior to line up what would go on and happen. For Meghan to start piecing together how the Oprah Winfrey interview would look, how the TV tell-all documentary would look. And it was twisted. And I think Catherine was very right to say, just let them go.
And if Meghan expected her return to Britain to automatically bring her closer to the Wales family, she may be discovering that Catherine has a very different idea. This isn't about one awkward family meeting. It isn't about a photograph. And it certainly isn't about pretending that years of tension never happened. This is about boundaries.
She feels as a mother that the two brothers should have a relationship. But her personal feelings for Harry are conflicted. Now, the royal author Christopher Anderson, who I don't think is a credible source, I'm just going to be honest about that, but Dan Wakeford is quoting him, saying that in his new book, he reported that Kate was the last senior royal to hold out hope for a reconciliation, but that Harry's public comments about King Charles's cancer diagnosis were her final straw. Wakeford writes, the picture that emerges is of a family in which the most emotionally generous member finally ran out of patience.
And according to the claims surrounding this dramatic return, Catherine has made hers extremely clear. Meghan may be coming back to Britain, but that does not mean she is coming back into Catherine's inner circle, and it certainly does not mean she gets unrestricted access to Catherine's children.
In Spare, Harry accuses William, this is according to Russell Myers, of peddling the tabloid narrative about Meghan, which led to the tense argument. But a source included in the book says that staff had been ground down by the Sussexes, and adds, it wasn't peddling a tabloid narrative to stick up for staff that were deeply unhappy to the point of walking away or having their mental health being affected. Here, finally, someone said it. Because you'll remember that Harry actually admitted in Spare that he would sometimes walk into the office of Kensington Palace.
So what exactly happened between these two women that has brought things to this point? To understand Catherine's position, you have to go back to the beginning. The Oprah interview changed everything. Meghan made explosive claims about life inside the royal family, including the now famous allegation that there had been conversations about the possible color of her unborn child's skin.
It's understandable why, right? We've heard all these stories we've heard from behind the scenes about how Meghan and Kate had all these sort of altercations, largely instigated by the Duchess of Sussex, right? Apparently. Apparently she made Kate cry. She claims that Kate made her cry. There is absolutely no love lost between the Sussexes and the Waleses.
The palace was thrown into crisis. Catherine did not go on television to fight back. She did not give an explosive interview. She did not publicly attack Meghan. She remained silent. Then came another deeply personal moment. Meghan said Catherine had made her cry before the wedding. Catherine never publicly launched a counterattack. She simply carried on, and that pattern continued for years. Harry's interviews, the Netflix documentary, the memoir Spare, story after story about life inside the royal family.
Why would you ever want Harry around when he's going to insist on bringing his wife, who once made you cry, then lied about it to Oprah, and always seems to have varying recollections? Not to mention, you really don't want his wife around who would sell clothing to the effect of what to wear to meet your evil sister-in-law.
Private family tensions becoming public entertainment. And through all of it, Catherine continued to protect her children from the noise. But then came the period when Catherine herself was facing one of the most difficult moments of her life: surgery, a cancer diagnosis, months of recovery, and 3 young children who needed their mother.
And this is a really important point for me. William and Catherine, who I don't think, I can't imagine there's going to be much happiness on that side. They've been and are this consistent, wonderful feature, I think, and I think they're the future of the British monarchy. Let's not forget that a lot of what Meghan stirred up online caused real difficulty for Catherine. She went through cancer. William is massively and rightly protective of his wife.
Yet the royal drama never completely disappeared. Now Meghan is reportedly returning to Britain with Harry and their children, while reports also suggest she has secured a new entertainment opportunity in the UK.
But Bronte Coy was leaked this news. Now remember, she is the new favourite down under of the Sussexes, although she's based in London. But don't worry, Meghan is really coming back because she has a huge role, which is just going to make her lots of money. And of course, she hasn't been forced to come back to the United Kingdom to save the marriage.
That detail matters because suddenly Meghan has another reason to spend time in Britain. An acting or entertainment role could mean filming, public appearances, industry contacts, media attention, and potentially much more time around the same country where William and Catherine are raising their family.
So Bronte Coy wrote, just 24 hours after Prince Harry and Meghan stunned royal watchers with news they are moving back to the UK, a key reason behind the decision has been revealed. Entertainment sources, those entertainment sources, of course, told news.com.au the Duchess of Sussex had been offered a role in an upcoming project based in the UK, although further details are yet to be shared. Believed to be an acting job, I think. It comes after a source close to Harry and Meghan revealed to News on Wednesday that the couple were relocating from California back to Britain with their 2 children.
But Catherine's priorities are different. She isn't trying to rebuild Meghan's career. She isn't trying to repair Harry and Meghan's public image. She is trying to protect George, Charlotte, and Louis. And this is where the situation becomes incredibly uncomfortable. Imagine school events. Imagine public ceremonies. Imagine children's activities where members of both families could potentially appear. The children did not choose this conflict. They did not choose the interviews. They did not choose the accusations. They did not choose the memoir.
And I can imagine that this will cause a lot of stress to both of them, but specifically Princess Catherine.
Yeah, I can imagine Meghan turning up, knocking at the door and saying, "Hello, hi, we haven't seen each other for a long time." So what does Catherine say?
Sod off. Seriously, I wouldn't let her in the house. I wouldn't trust her.
No, but then she could do that as a story. You have to be very careful. You have to be very
So anything you say or do, she'll put in the papers?
Yes.
And Catherine has every reason to want their childhood to remain as normal as possible. That is why the strongest boundary may not be between Catherine and Meghan at all. It may be between Meghan and the children. And that boundary could become one of the biggest problems for the Sussexes' return. Because Meghan's new UK role changes the equation. For years, the Sussexes have built their lives around California. Now suddenly, Britain is back at the center of the story.
Variety. The Hollywood Entertainment Bible has since confirmed that news as well. Their report that Meghan Markle is eyeing a return to the screen as she and Prince Harry move back to the UK, Variety has confirmed. They say Meghan is best known for her breakout role as Rachel Zane in the legal drama Suits, where she starred for 7 seasons.
And according to commentary surrounding their move, Harry has always viewed Britain as home in a way Meghan apparently has not. That is exactly why the return has created so much speculation. Is this really about Harry wanting to be closer to his family? Is it about Meghan's new entertainment opportunity? Is it about their finances? Or is something much more complicated happening behind the scenes?
As Meghan now leans into the Kris Jenner playbook, and insiders say the Duchess now fully controls the Sussex family brand. Shooter writes, if the Sussex children are becoming more visible, insiders say it's deliberate and it signals a real shift inside the marriage. Sources tell Naughty But Nice that Prince Harry was initially firmly against putting Archie and Lilibet on social media. Harry was very clear in the beginning, no faces, no exposure, no brand strategy around the kids. He was adamant about privacy, but friends say that position has softened over time.
There is another detail that cannot be ignored. Harry's legal battle with Associated Newspapers has produced a devastating cost dispute with reports of a huge potential financial liability and an immediate interim payment. Whatever the final figure becomes, the case has created enormous pressure. And suddenly Meghan has a new UK entertainment opportunity at precisely the moment the couple's finances are under intense scrutiny.
After marrying Harry, she largely stepped back from acting, though she's set to make a cameo as herself in the upcoming Amazon MGM comedy Close Personal Friends with Brie Larson and Lily Collins. Recently, she's also hosted the Netflix lifestyle series With Love, Meghan, which launched her brand as ever and appeared as a guest judge on MasterChef Australia. Now, what you're noticing, I'm sure, because you're smart, that's why you're here and outspoken, is that the mainstream media are having to tiptoe around the fact that, of course, there are finances involved in this decision. Of course, King Charles's health is involved in this decision. But the overarching thing is that they're deeply unhappy and the marriage is in trouble.
That doesn't prove anything about their private marriage, but it certainly explains why the timing has attracted so much attention. And then there is the question of Charles. The king reportedly wants to maintain a relationship with his younger son. That is understandable from a father's perspective.
But what Harry has very skillfully done is he's exploited Charles's love for him, and Charles does love Harry. He adores Harry, the darling boy. You know, he's exploited it, and he's driven a wedge between the king and the heir. And by peeling off and separating William and the king, he's now got himself into a situation where he's basically able to come home with the king's blessing.
But William and Catherine are not Harry and Meghan. They have different responsibilities, different positions, and most importantly, they have children to protect. This is why Catherine's position could become increasingly important as the Sussexes return. She doesn't need to fight Meghan publicly. She doesn't need to release a statement. She doesn't need to explain herself. Her boundary can simply be demonstrated through action, distance, limited contact, controlled family occasions, and keeping George, Charlotte, and Louis away from unnecessary drama.
Harry's going to carry on with his charity work, and he's right to do so because he's very good at it. With Invictus and the children's charities, Scottish Little Soldiers and all these sort of things. Brilliant. You can't fault him at all for those charities. You know, Rupert's just mentioned that, being cynical about it, and I accept that, and I agree with him. When you think that it was only 2025, Harry was giving an interview to the BBC saying he was never going to bring his wife back to the UK because it's too dangerous. That is one of the many questions. What has happened since this being such a dangerous country? From a few weeks ago where Meghan couldn't possibly come to London because it was a terrible, terrible city.
That would explain why reports of a potential Sussex return have generated such strong reactions. Because Meghan isn't simply returning to a country, she is returning to the environment where many of these royal conflicts began, and she may be returning to a family that has changed significantly since she left. Catherine has changed, William has changed, their children have grown, the monarchy has changed, and the tolerance for another cycle of public family drama may be much lower than it once was.
Brilliant news that Prince Harry, formerly known as Prince, is going to come back to the UK. Oh yes, with trailer trash Meghan Markle. having failed spectacularly at everything they've ever tried to do in America, including start businesses, be quasi-royals and hand out soup in kitchens to Palestinian women and try to be celebrities. That failed. Having said that the royal family were racist and gone on Oprah and scooped up all the plaudits while they could, now with their tail between their legs, they plan on coming back to the UK to use the only leverage they have left, which is that Harry used to be a royal. They're not even going to be working royals. They're just going to rock up and get free housing. I mean, seriously, they're basically illegals at this point.
There is also the possibility that Meghan's new entertainment role could place her directly back into British public life. The transcript surrounding the announcement suggests that the project could be entertainment-related, although the exact nature of the role has not been fully established. That uncertainty itself has created speculation. Acting, television, cooking, a guest appearance, something completely different? Whatever it turns out to be, the bigger question is what happens when Meghan becomes a regular presence in Britain again, because Catherine cannot control Meghan's career. She cannot control what projects Meghan accepts. She cannot control what the media reports. But she can control access to her own family, and that is where Catherine has the strongest position.
She's very courage. She's very courage. She can be very courage. And so she can do anything she likes. She will write disgusting books that you never believe. She will dress in ways that you absolutely shouldn't. She'll do that wiggle woggle that she did before.
That wiggle what?
A wiggle woggle that we thought she was having a baby, but she probably wasn't. That terrible dancing. And I mean, who would do that?
Her children are not part of Meghan's comeback campaign. They are not props for a family photograph. They are not a public relations tool. They are George, Charlotte, and Louis. And Catherine is their mother. If Meghan believed that returning to Britain would automatically restore the old family relationships, the reality may be very different. The Sussexes may find themselves physically closer to the royal family while remaining emotionally and privately further away than ever. And that is the twist nobody seems to be talking about. The biggest obstacle to Meghan's return may not be the British public. It may not be the media. It may not even be William. It could be Catherine's boundaries. Because Catherine doesn't need to publicly reject Meghan. She simply needs to decide where the line is. And once that line involves her children, moving it becomes almost impossible.
The Netflix deal, it's dead. The Netflix deal is dead. It's been dead for a while. And Netflix themselves have been distancing themselves from her. Wow. They were doing the As Ever brand with her. Then they said, no, we're not doing that anymore. The deal of, we're going to pay you X amount of $1 million a year, Meghan and Harry, to executive produce these different ideas and these different programs and documentaries. Well, they just kept coming up with tripe. So Netflix said, the deal's now changing to a first look deal, i.e. you come up with an idea, let us look at it first, and we'll decide whether we want it or not. Netflix didn't want any of their stuff.
Whatever happens next, one thing is clear. Meghan can return to Britain. She can accept new entertainment work. She can rebuild a career. She can create a completely new public image. But Catherine does not have to give her access to the private world she has worked so hard to protect. And if the reports surrounding this situation are accurate, that is exactly what may be happening. Catherine has endured enough. She has protected her family through one of the most difficult periods of her life. She has remained remarkably restrained while the royal family continued to dominate headlines. And now, with Meghan reportedly returning, she appears determined to make one thing absolutely clear. The children come first, always.
We do get a lot of criticism, people, you're talking about Harry and Meghan. It's that, yes, the media probably does make a lot of money from discussing Harry and Meghan. They, as far as I'm aware, briefed the Telegraph, the Times, your organisation, Bronte. I feel like if this is a private thing, it's a family decision, they're not going to tell anybody where they live or where their children are going to school. Why do they have to megaphone every single damn thing they do?
Well, I'll push back slightly on that and say there were a few rumblings that were going on with all of this. But to the broader point, I do agree with you that I think that lessons should have been learned.
You're not saying that you weren't briefed. Of course you were briefed. The Telegraph and the Sun were briefed. Don't be ridiculous.
If you want to know what happens next between Catherine, Meghan, Harry, and the royal family, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. And don't leave just yet. The videos on your screen right now will take you deeper into the latest developments surrounding the Sussex return, Catherine's position, and what could happen next. Watch those now.